in this lesson, we're going to continue unwrapping the frame of our weapon. All right, so let's go ahead and create the material that we need for our UV map. I like to use a custom texture map for that. So I'm going to add in a standard material. I'm going to double click on that and call that UVW so I know exactly what it is. And then I'm going to double click on diffuse color and choose a bitmap. So if you go into your project files, 3ds Max files, scene assets, images, you'll find the UV checker map there. Go ahead and open that, and that has been applied. I'll go ahead and double click on that. And I want to do something really quickly. Let's go down to our map section and click on our map. And let's make sure that our tiling is set to something like 4, because I like that to be a little bit smaller just to help. So then we'll take this, we'll double click on it, and we'll assign that to our selections. And then make sure you show shaded material in viewport, so that way we can see that there. And there we go. Okay. Now you'll notice that we've applied that and our handles have turned black and things like that, and that's totally fine. The reason for that is because we don't have the UV set up properly. So with this side of the gun, you can see that the checker pattern looks nice and neat and clean and straight. Looks really good. So let's go ahead and get the other side here. It's not quite as clean as I would like it to be. So let's open up our UV editor, and let's go ahead and select this cluster here. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll put that into position. So with that selected, let's make sure that we get all the polygons. So let's include these here as well. So holding down Control to add those to the selection. Let's make sure that we have all of them that we want on this. Okay, that looks good. Happy with the way that looks so far. And then we'll come in and we'll go ahead and we'll say make planar. So we use a planar projection. We'll use the X direction, and there it is. Now let's go ahead and scale it in the vertical direction, because it's always a good idea to get it as close as possible before you use a relax. Sometimes that relax can give you some odd results if you are trying to relax from too far away. So let's turn off our planar projection, and let's scale that down a little bit. Okay, flatten that out. Take a look at your checker pattern, make sure that looks right. If you want, you can hit F2 and that will turn off the shading. But I like to keep it on just in case, so that way I can see that. Now, in this pattern as well, you can see these little circles. You can base that as well. So if you're getting a lot of ovals, you want to try to get a little bit more of a circular shape, go ahead and judge it on that, as well as the squares. So this is why I like to use this method, okay, this custom texture. All right, so now with that, let's go ahead and relax it a little bit. So we'll do relax by polygon, and we'll start that relax, and it shouldn't move very much. We're just trying to make sure that it gets everything in place. Go ahead and grab your move tool and pull that up here. There we go. Now you'll see that this one is much larger than the other one, and that's okay. What we can do is we can select it and we'll scale it in all directions, and we'll just scale that up to where that's about the same size. Okay. That should give you what you need there. All right, let's continue on. Let's move on to our next cluster. Now, I'm not worried about anything that's inside of here. I'm only worried about what we've got on our smoothing groups, okay, what we've flattened out here. So let's go ahead and take these polygons. I know that those belong to that. And you always want to do a double check, make sure you're not selecting anything that is part of a cluster that we've already unwrapped. So all of these look pretty good. Let's take these, all of those there up to this point. I think that's a pretty good place to stop with that. And let's just simply use X projection. Let's use the Y on that. Actually, let's do Z, excuse me. So there we have that. Now, if it helps, you can also do this best align, and that will get you pretty close, but sometimes that best align will skew it in this way. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Z direction. We'll hit fit one time, and then what you can do is you can go ahead and scale it, okay, whatever direction you need here. In this case, we need to scale it in the vertical direction. So with that, let's scale that up. You'll see that that checker pattern starts to loosen up. And then I'm going to scale it in all three directions for right now. Let's scale that down. And there we've got that. And it's a lot easier to see the checker pattern, making sure that it's nice and square. Now you'll notice that we're getting some skewing right here. And so because I have it pretty close right here along the top, I'm going to go ahead and use that relax. And that should take care of that backside there too. So we'll start the relax. You'll notice that that relaxed there, and close that. And there we go. We've got this nice, neat checkered pattern all the way through. Now, another thing that you'll want to watch is the real estate. So the size of your checker patterns that you have. If you've already created something, you want to make sure that you're fairly close to that size. Okay. Now, in this case, I'm pretty close. So I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And we're going to move that out of the way. Okay, we're just going to put it up here. It might make sense to go ahead and rotate it. So I hit Z or E on the keyboard to rotate that, and we'll rotate that 90 degrees. Now it's snapping because I have my angle snap turned on. Go ahead and put this right over the top of the weapon here, and just say, all right, well, let's place it right there, just so that way we know exactly what that cluster is. All right, let's move on to the next one. So let's select this cluster right here. That selects all those polygons. Let's go ahead and select all of these up here, so that way it connects it. And then we'll do planar projection, and we're going to use Z. And if it helps, you can also rotate that tool. So if you hit E on the keyboard, you can actually rotate that tool and get that to fit a little bit better. And then you can come in and say fit that. Okay, and it gets a nice angle on that. Looks pretty good. Now what we'll do is we'll come in and we'll grab our scale tool in the vertical direction here. Or if you want, you could also do horizontal. Okay, it's totally up to you. Let's turn off planar projection. We're done with that. Let's scale that into the horizontal direction. See how that starts to bring those squares out. Everything is looking pretty good. Now once we get close, just simply use that relax. Okay, again, I don't like to use that relax until I've scaled it down and gotten it close. Relax should only be used to get the final little bit. Now that we have that one, let's go ahead and go to edge mode and then back to polygon. Grab your move tool. And again, I only changed the subobject modes just to make sure that I've turned off projection over here. You can come over here and just simply turn it off if it's ever turned on too. So we'll leave it right there. Let's go ahead and scale it down in all three directions now that we've relaxed it. And just try to get those checker patterns about the same size. And again, you don't have to be perfect, just get close. Because we're going to use a pack custom tool that will allow us to bring all that back together, and it will normalize all the sizes and everything and make sure that the checker pattern is the same size. So that way you get the same amount of detail all the way through. All right, so now we have that. We have this little piece right back here. Okay, and this piece could actually go onto the end of that. And so what I'm going to do instead is, let's go ahead and take this piece right here. Let's take this guy and let's put it up here. And I'm going to use planar projection. Let's do the wide direction here. Seeing how the checker placement or pattern is pretty close, we can go ahead and just use relax on that. So we'll do polygon angles, start that relax. Once that's finished, let's go ahead and take that, turn off planar projection, take that and bring it up here, and then scale it in all three directions. Okay, and then we'll put that up into position here. Now notice that we have this select and there's this blue line on the back side here. What that's representing is that it's saying that the UVs should connect right here on the model. And so if I go to edge mode, let me turn off the element mode. If I select this edge and this edge, notice that we have this blue one. That tells me that these go together on the model. So they actually share the same UV space if they're together. So I want to go ahead and weld those together or stitch them together. A great way of doing this is to double click on the edge that you want to stitch to, and then simply use this custom stitch right here. And if I left click on that, you'll notice that that piece comes together and stitches perfectly. Now it would be a good idea to go ahead and select that entire thing and then go ahead and relax it one more time. Relax by polygon angles, and that should straighten up. Great. So now we have that. Now we've finished up the main part of the frame. There are a couple of other pieces that we need to take care of on this. And so looking at these other pieces, we'll take a look at what those belong to, try to get those along the same smoothing group, and getting all of those together. One other one really quickly, if I double click on this edge right here, oops, let's hit Z really quickly. Double click on that edge, and if you look over here, it actually connects to that. We can leave that right here, and then all I have to do is do custom stitch and it'll pop right over here. And then what I can do is just select that entire element, and we can use relax on that. And that'll kind of unfold a little bit. And seeing how it was so close already, you'll notice here that it looks pretty good. So that's one piece that's already together. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. You can see that this element is right here, but it's missing a lot of these pieces. Okay, so let's select this guy right here and all of those. Now with all of those selected, let's go ahead and use a planar projection. And let's make sure that we use the, I believe this is going to be the Z direction. There we go. So it's going to flatten that out, and then I can simply come in and relax by polygon angles. And it relaxes that out, and then I need to add on the, oops, let's grab our move tool, sorry about that. I need to add on the other piece that connects to this, so I need these polygons right here. Notice where those are at. Let's go ahead and do a planar projection. Let's use the X direction on that. Let's go ahead and relax that a little bit. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll come over here and I'm going to go to edge mode, double click on that set of edges, stitch that. Then I can take that entire element now that that has been put together and just simply relax it. Notice how it straightens out, looks really nice and neat, and there we go. Okay, so we finished that out. We've got the sides. Let's go ahead and continue on with the rest of the frame by taking the rest of these pieces and getting those unwrapped and ready to go. So I'll see you in the next lesson.